Hello there, very good afternoon. You're joining Lunchtime News here on MTV Sports. First, let's take a look at our headlines. 2 spill gates of the Kanthala Reservoir opened. The earth moves closer to the sun today. 5 men in India to be charged with the murder of a medical student who was gang raped on a Delhi bus. Moving on to those stories in detail, the government has decided to grant permanent employment to graduate trainees who have completed a year of service at state institutions. Secretary to the Ministry of Public Administration and Home Affairs, P.B. Abekon, said that the all graduate trainees would be granted permanent employment after completing 1 year in service from the date of appointment. He added that the graduates have been directed to several ministries, including the Ministry of Economic Development. 51,500 graduate trainees have been granted employment. Well, the Department of Irrigation says that 2 spill gates of the Kanthala Reservoir were opened this morning. Irrigation engineer W.L.M. Buddhika said that as a result, the water levels of the Kusumankada Canal is rising. He further added that residents of the Tambalagamua, Mullipatana and Kinya areas should be vigilant. Moving on local news, today the Earth is at perihelion, the point in its orbit at which it is closest to the Sun, making the Earth slightly warmer than it would be otherwise. Well, meanwhile, in more local news, floodwaters which submerged several parts of the island are receding. However, farmers in Anuradhapura and Polonnaruwa who were worst affected by the floods are still grieving from the destruction caused to their cultivations.
This is a paddy field located in Parakumpura, Madirigiriya. This was how the paddy field was inundated over the past several days due to the heavy showers experienced in the area. The floodwaters destroyed nearly 150 acres of paddy fields in the Parakumpura. The paddy fields were destroyed when the spill gates of the Kaudula tank were opened, causing excess water to gush through the fields. Farmers point out that this situation can be attributed to the ineffective water disposal system of the tank. It costs around 40,000 rupees to complete work on 1 acre. On television, the ministers say they will give us various things, but we have received nothing.
We bear
the expenses to cultivate the fields. We have pawned our belongings and we are in debt. We undergo many hardships. We request the authorities for compensation that would cover our costs.
Residents of the Gamudha area in Dambulla claim that the National Housing Development Authority is to sell a land in the Gamudha area. A heated situation arose yesterday when a group had arrived to clean up this land.
48 families reside in the Gamudha village, which was established in 1982. Plots of land located at the center of the village for the benefit of the public and for decorative purposes are to be sold. The land area which is to be sold is an area which was spared for public activity and decorations. The sale of this plot of land was publicized by the National Housing Development Authority in this manner. Accordingly, 9 plots of land are to be sold. However, area residents carried out a protest when a group had arrived in the village to clean up the area. Premadasa built this village in an environmentally friendly way. Certain people are selling it merely to earn money. They are not interested in issuing deeds. They are only interested in selling this land. Thereafter, Mayor of the Dambulla Municipal Council, Jali Opatha, arrived at the location. Authorization should be obtained from the relevant local governing body if an institution or a plot of land is sold. But in this case, authorization cannot be given because the Gamudha village was created according to a plan. The drainage system has been built to suit the environment. Therefore, no one can change these plans. As the mayor, I am telling to stop this. As the mayor, I am asking for this to be stopped. If there is anyone from the Housing Development Authority, ask them to meet me so that appropriate measures can be taken. However, this land cannot be filled. Later, the mayor made a telephone call to the district manager of the Housing Development Authority. The plots of land are located in a marshy area. Therefore, you must speak to the municipal council, which is the local government body. It is an area that was inundated by flood waters. Therefore, the water may flow to the houses. There is a problem here. The group that arrived to clean up the area dispersed after officials of the Housing Development Authority in Dambulla and the police arrived at the location.
Still in your local news, the Court of Appeal read out the determination of the Supreme Court a short while ago in relation to several matters which had been referred to the Supreme Court by the Court of Appeal on the interpretation of the Constitution. According to Attorney-at-Law Salia Pieris, the Supreme Court had determined that the Parliamentary Select Committee, which examined the impeachment motion against the Chief Justice under Standing Order 78A, has no legal power or authority to come to a finding adversely affecting the rights of a judge.
Court of Appeal read out the determination of the Supreme Court in relation to several matters which had been referred to the Supreme Court by the Court of Appeal for the interpretation of the Constitution. Accordingly, the Supreme Court has determined that a Parliamentary Select Committee established under Standing Order 78A of the Standing Orders has no legal power or authority to come to a finding adversely affecting the rights of a judge, for the reason that such a tribunal can be established only by law and by law alone. So that is a determination which was read out a short while ago. That is a summary of the determination that was read out a short while ago by the Court of Appeal.
Well, moving on, a woman who was injured after falling off the roof of a house in the Ranpogundagama housing scheme in Nittambur has succumbed to her injuries. The victim was 59 years old. A group of people who were mending the roof of the particular house last Saturday said that the woman fell off the roof when trying to get down. The woman, who was rushed to the Vatupedi hospital, succumbed to her injuries yesterday. Well, on sports now, the third and final test between Sri Lanka and Australia is currently underway at the Sydney Cricket Ground. This is also Mahela Jayawardena's final test as captain of Sri Lanka. Now, Australia won the toss and invited the injury-hit Sri Lankan team to bat first. Tilakaratne Dilshan and Dimuth Karunaratne opened the innings for Sri Lanka. Dimuth Karunaratne was out for 5 runs when he was caught by Michael Hussey off a Jackson Bird delivery. This is incidentally Michael Hussey's last test for Australia. Jackson Bird claimed his second wicket when he dismissed Tilakaratne Dilshan for 34. Skipper Mahela Jayawardena, who looked solid on 72, was undone by Mitchell Starc. After the dismissal of Thilan Samaraweera and Angelo Matthews for low scores, injury replacement Lahira Tirumana fell to Nathan Lyon after an impressive 91 runs, which included a 6 and 13 fours. Sri Lanka were 294 all out at stumps. Well, with that, we wrap up lunchtime news for this afternoon. I'm Aaron Rajratnam for News First.